Alright everybody, if you're watching this video, that means that you are done with problem 79. You've already looked at those tables, you figured out where they would cross each other. Actually, you probably figured out that they couldn't cross each other because you didn't see it on the table, or they didn't cross at a nice point. And then you graphed them, you saw where they intersected, and then you used equal values. You used those rules to kind of confirm your answer from part B, since it was a decimal answer, okay? I'm going to come around and check that in just a minute. But you are on this video because you went through that classwork quickly, and I want you to get a little bit of an enrichment opportunity here to kind of dig deeper into this idea. So I have a problem here, and I am going to solve this problem. Misha and Nora want to buy season passes for a ski lift, but neither one of them has the, and this should say $225 needed to purchase the pass. Nora decides to get a job that pays $6.25 per hour. She has nothing saved right now, but she can work 4 hours each week. Misha already has $80 and plans to save $15 of her weekly allowance, who will be able to purchase a pass first. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to pause this video, take a minute, and try and solve this problem, okay? You guys all have the skills that you need to be able to solve this problem, and so you can use any method you want. You can use tables, you could use graphs, you could use equations, you could just try and think it out and figure it out in your head, who would get to 225 first, but whatever you decide to do, take a minute, pause, and think to yourself. We'll confirm your answer with mine in just a minute. Okay, so hopefully if you're back, you've got an answer, you've tried to solve this problem on your own, and I'm going to show you kind of what I did. So I decided to solve this problem by writing equations, and that's not because the other methods that you can do are any less good or any less possible to solve the problem with. I just do equations usually because it's more new what we're learning in algebra right now. It's the new stuff that we're learning. So here's what I did. I started with writing an equation for Nora, and the first thing I had to figure out, because I know that Misha is saving $15 every week, I want to figure out how much money Nora is saving every week. So she makes $6.25 an hour, and she's working 4 hours a week. And so I multiplied those two together, and that tells me that she saves $25 a week. Okay? I take that information and I put it into an equation. Well, the amount that she's saving each week is our slope. That's the M. That's the growth, because if she's adding $25 each week in my table, that's what my y values would be going up by each time. They'd be going up by 25 each time I moved a week across. So my equation is going to be y equals 25x. There's no plus number because she doesn't start with any money. The other thing that's important is you have to be able to tell what the two variables stand for. So in my case, I know that x has to stand for the number of weeks, right? If she's been working for 1 week, she has $25. If she's been working for 2 weeks, she has $50, so I'm just multiplying 25 times 2, okay? And y is going to be the amount of money that she has after that many weeks, okay? Then I need to write an equation for Misha. Well, remembering what y equals mx plus b means, she starts with $80. So that is your y-intercept, the figure 0 sort of number, and that goes at the end, the plus 80. She's saving $15 per week, and so that's your slope. That's the M that goes in right next to the X. Think about your growth. What are we growing by each time? Again, X stands for the number of weeks, and Y stands for the amount of money. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to figure out for each of these girls how many weeks it takes for them to get to 225. Since my Y is the number of the amount of money that they have when they finish, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Nora, and I'm going to plug 225 in for Y, okay? And then I just needed to solve this to figure out how many weeks there are. And so what I'm going to do is, you're probably all yelling at me in your heads already, just divide by 25 on both sides. Yes, you can all solve this equation. So I divide by 25 on both sides, and that tells me that x equals 9. So it takes Nora 9 weeks to save $225, okay? Now I have to figure out something to compare that to. I have to figure out for Misha. So again, I plug 225 in for y, and that gives me that 225 equals 15x plus 80, and I need to solve this equation. I solve it by subtracting 80 from both sides first. That gives me 145 equals 15x. Then I divide by 15 on both sides, and I get 9.67 equals x. Well, that's how long it takes Misha to save, 9.67, so a little over 9 weeks to save to 225. It only takes Nora 9 weeks, and so Nora will be able to purchase her pass first. Okay? All right, let's try again. Let's try another problem. Here's what it says. Cross-country movering, or CCM, charges $2,000 plus 90 cents per pound to move a house full of furniture from Maryland to California. Okay? The other company, Global City, or GC, charges $3,500 plus 40 cents per pound for the same move. How many pounds gives the same price? And when would you choose each company? So this problem is important because, when you're shopping around for things in real life, sometimes you could get a better deal. I mean, right now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, well, I don't want to pay $3,500 when I could pay $2,000. But if you look at it, cross-country or CCM is charging a lot more per pound. And so we have to kind of figure out, based on how much stuff that we have, which one would be a better deal, okay? Again, I'm going to challenge you to pause the video and see what you can do. See if you can solve this, figure out when they'd be the same, figure out when CCM would be the better deal, and when GC would be the better deal, and then go ahead and play, and I'll show you kind of what I did. All right, let's take a look. Again, I wrote equations. So I started with CCM, and they start by charging $2,000 if you have no pounds. So that's their flat rate. And then they charge 90 cents per pound, and so that's going to be my growth. As I add a pound, I add 90 cents. So my equation that I'm using is y equals 0.9x plus 2,000. And then my equation for GC is going to be y equals 0.40x plus 3,500. Again, 3,500 is the starting amount. 40 cents is my growth. As I add a pound, cost me 40 cents extra. Okay? Let's talk about what those variables mean. So x has to be the number of pounds because for each pound that I add 40 cents. Or for each pound that I add 90 cents. And again, y is going to be the cost. Once you add all those things together on the right side, you're going to get a number that represents the cost of the move. Okay? The first question is asking me how many pounds give the same price. So I'm going to use equal values, which is what we just talked about today. I want to know when those two things equal each other, when they are the same. Okay? So I'm going to set them equal to each other, and I get 0.90x plus 2,000 equals 40 cents times x plus 3,500, and I'm going to solve this equation. Don't let the decimals freak you out. This is exactly like every equation you've ever solved before. I'm going to start by getting all of my x's from the right side over to the left side. I'm going to do that by subtracting 40 cents times x from both sides. Okay? 0.9 minus 0.4 is 0.5, so I end up with this equation that says 0.5x plus 2,000 equals 3,500. Now all my x's are on the left side, so I want to get all my numbers over to the right side, so I'm going to do that by subtracting 2,000 from both sides. I get 0.50x equals 1,500, and then I need to divide both sides by 0.50. That gives me 3,000. So if I have 3,000 pounds worth of stuff to move, these two companies are going to cost me the same amount. Now I'm going to figure out, okay, so when would it benefit me to go with cross country? When would it benefit me to go for Global City? And so I could graph both of these, and I would really clearly see when each line is lower than the other, when each cost is lower. But I don't really need to do that because I know that CCM is cheaper at the beginning, right? $2,000 is much cheaper than $3,500. And as I add weight, then they start to get closer and closer because CCM charges more per pound. So I know that if I'm going to have less than 3,000 pounds, then I should go for CCM. And if I have more than 3,000 pounds, I should go for GC. Okay? All right, I have one more challenge for you. On the next slide, it says to write your own problem. So some of the problems that I'm writing, maybe you're not connecting with, maybe they're not making sense why you would need to know. So I want you to come up with your own problem, something that feels relevant to your life, and solve it. Okay, if you come up with something, take a snapshot and email it to me. If it's something that makes sense, something that I could use in class, something that we could do as a warm-up, something like that, I will give you extra credit for that. So it's a good opportunity for you to kind of push yourself, maybe earn a little extra credit. All right? Go ahead and work on that, and when you're done, you can start your homework. Your homework for tomorrow, it comes from chapter 4, 80 to 84. So if you happen to finish this as well in class, go ahead and start that. Thank you.